So yeah, my name is Armen Papyan. I'm a student at University of Washington, Tacoma. I'm majoring in politics, philosophy, and economics. I'm the director of legislative affairs there. I was also a candidate for the Tukwila City Council, and I'm only 20 years old. But before all of this, I actually have a story to tell you. And so I was actually born here in the United States, but I was forced to live in Armenia because with trouble with immigration, and I lived most of my life in Armenia, almost 11 years. And while I was in Armenia, when I turned about 10 years old, I asked my parents if I could come back to the United States. I wanted to get a better education. I knew the quality here, and I just knew the opportunities that I would have here. So I actually, they didn't let me come because they didn't trust me yet because I was only 10 years old. And finally, when I actually turned 13 years old, I got the permission from my parents to come back to the United States. And in 2011, I came back here. I lived with my grandparents. I didn't have any friends. I didn't know any English. I barely knew any English. So that summer, I actually spent studying English, reading books, trying to catch up, and to make sure that at least when I could go to Foster, I could at least communicate with students or some staff members at some level. I remember the first day when I walked in to Foster and went into my classroom. Our English teacher gave us an assignment, and the assignment was to write an essay about ourselves. It was supposed to be an easy assignment, but I went back home and I realized that I didn't know what an essay was. And so I actually spent all day trying to find out what an essay was, and then how to write an essay. As you know, I barely know any English at that time. I tried to write up something, that did not make sense, and I gave it to the teacher. A week later, I got my assignment back, and of course, it was all written in red. I got a bad grade. It was an F. And I went back home, like a 13-year-old. I started crying. I didn't know what to do. And I asked myself, what does the future hold for me? Because I was here without my parents. I didn't have anyone besides me. But as weeks went by and I started to go to school more, I started to slowly make friends, I understood that I actually wasn't the only one that was struggling with this. And there were other students that had these similar stories like I did, and they were struggling in many ways or other ways. And most of the students also didn't know English, and it was also their second language or third language. And I started to join as teachers saw that I was really trying my best and I was trying my hardest. I would wake up almost every single day at 5 or 6 o'clock, and teachers would come out and help me in the morning, 2 hours before even school started. And friends that I just met like 2 weeks ago would come and help me out, just stay with me, and I'm very thankful for them. But I slowly started to join a community. So I felt like I was becoming part of a community. I started to join, I joined the tennis team. I joined many clubs and sports team at Foster. I started to volunteer a lot in the community, and I started to volunteer for the Foster High School leadership team. By the end of my sophomore year, I actually decided to run for vice president for my class, for junior class, and I won actually for that position. I was voted by the student body. The year after that, I actually ran for ASB president, also was voted by the student body and won that position. After I graduated from Foster High School, I got into the University of Washington, Tacoma, and started studying politics, philosophy, and economics. And I realized that I actually have a bigger goal than just getting a better education, that there's something more holding for me, and I could do more than that, and I wanted to give back. I wanted to help other people like I was helped before at my freshman and my sophomore years, that I was given that bump to, and I decided to run for Tukwila City Council. Yeah, and I wanted to be that voice for the youth. I want to make sure that our youth is stepping up and is engaged in civic duty and politics, that they know what is going on in their community. I'm actually very thankful of being part of Tukwila. I'm very thankful of all those teachers, the staff members, the friends that I got to make, the Tukwila City Council members and the Tukwila mayor, and all the friends that I got to make here. And my mission, or what I'm trying to say, is basically my message to everyone is that keep on going no matter what. Especially in a community like Tukwila, you'll always find someone that will help you. There will always someone that will back you up no matter what. And that's it. That's my story.